The Nike Vomero 18 200 plus miles. What's the damage? What's the situation? Are we still continuing with the shoe, or is it time to swap it out? Let's get into it. So before we get into the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're subscribed, watching content. Thanks so much. Love you guys a lot. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Strava, and all the other social medias to know what's going on, where the next race is. If you want to hang out for a run, you let me know. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. Specs for the shoe, somewhere where you can see them. And at 200 plus miles, I think from a brief glimpse of the outsoles of the shoes before filming this video, we've got a couple of interesting things to look at across the board, and I will show you what is kind of visible and what is not as visible to the naked eye as we kind of look at everything going on. Main things, of course, in the areas on the outsoles of where I'm striking usually, which is more of the middle to the outside ends of the shoe, that being more of as a result of one, running form, two, just the stability index of the shoe, which is that it's a little bit less stable than your average, I guess, max foam stack type of shoe on the market, which is okay. If your ankles are in a good position, if you're not injured in any sort of way, that lack of stability is not a problem. It's actually more of a benefit just to allow for better shock absorption, one might say. So again, outside area, the anterior side of the shoe is just about completely flattened out. We don't have any lugs on this end to sort of stick in. A little bit of the inside is starting to take a beat down in a way. And yeah, I guess the tips of the shoes are also sort of looking like almost every other running shoe I've used of a daily training spectrum, with more of like rolling hill type of running in my daily workouts, right? The heels are almost like next to perfect in terms of wear, and that's this is a result of not heel striking, not really rubbing the heel in any sort of weird way. So if you're a heel striker, man, I've got a pair of shoes you could buy off me right now if you want them brand spanking new with just minor, mid-foot to forefoot sort of wear, but whatever. That's jokes aside. Other than that, the left foot seems to be right about where I expect it to be in terms of wear. Now, on the right foot, this is where I see some more interesting sorts of beatdowns. So again, the anterior side is worn out, and the foam is starting to take a bit of a beating as well, right there in that crevice area of the shoe. There's a bit of wear in the foam that's on the middle area there of the shoe as well, probably just from the elements making it dirty and whatnot. Again, the forefoot area is almost completely flattened out, no lugs to showcase there. And the heel is, for the most part, in a good place, minus some odd, I guess, cutting of the heel there, which could be as a result of the shoes rubbing. If I'm running a certain way, maybe it's a treadmill workout and my feet are not controlled, and as you're like running, it could be the case that one shoe kind of clips the other. So like in this case, the heel may have clipped like the forefoot area of this shoe. That could be as a result. It could be just taking a wrong step and something being a little bit more of a kinetic damage to the shoe. But I think this is more of just clipping from running a little bit slower. Maybe there's a little bit of weakness in my glutes, and when my hamstrings try to take over from a running perspective, the running form kind of changes where you'll clip where like this area of the shoe will clip either the heel of the other shoe, or you will clip and have like scuff marks on your calves, right? It's almost like the sensation is that your knees are rubbing together while you're running. It's a little bit more complex than that specifically. I just know it could be a slight hip weakness if we're looking at it from that perspective. So, okay, I think that's enough time on the outsole. In terms of the foam stack, I think the wear that we're seeing is sort of expected, where the foam is fatiguing in areas that are sinking the most across the shoe. So that would be this area right here. Similar to the Mag Max, we have the streaks kind of going towards the central portion of the shoe. So as the shoe is probably crushing down, I would imagine it's because it's sinking right in this area, right? So that makes sense to me that the foam would crease in such a way, and it's just an adaptive, I guess, feature of the shoe as you're running, so it doesn't feel like it's getting stiffer as you're running, that the foam doesn't feel like it's losing energy. Rather, it's just adapting to your running form, the way you're striking on the ground, the angle at which you strike the ground, all of this is kind of factored into the foam, and you would see that also in the midfoot area, different creasing and whatnot. And that's why the heel is generally pretty clean across the board there. Now, in terms of fit, I think I'm pretty mixed about the general fit of the shoe in terms of the toe box area, how much it's crushing the toe box and whatnot, just because I'm comparing it also to other shoes I've used in the past and are in my current shoe lineup. So I think when running downhill, I'm smashing the toe box of this shoe, specifically with my right foot, and I am getting some, I guess, hematomas developing on some of my toes as a result of smashing the toe box. As a result of swapping that with the Alpha Fly 3s whenever I was training with those or using those for a race day. But at the same time, it's not nearly as bad as something like the Vomero 18, which is a lot tighter of a fit. Not as loose as like the Mag Max, not as loose as like the Nova Blast 5s. So it's designed to be a little bit more compact in this shoe, but if you've got the fit right, it's gonna carry, dividends in the long run. And even if the shoe is of perfect size for you, it could be an issue with maybe your sock choice as well if it's too tight. So in my case, I've swapped between like the Nike branded race sock and some Balegas that I'm using, or Balagas, I don't know what they're called. They're not Balenciaga socks, okay? But using the sock with a little more cotton versus like a little bit more of a polyester feel that's a lot thinner, that does make a difference in the toe box as well, in terms of how the shoe's going to fit, the overall protection of your toes. So without getting into too much of that detail, I think the shoe runs a little bit tighter than I guess most people would expect. It could be as a result of just the overall design. It could be this textile piece. There's a lot of factors that are involved with it, but it's not as loose as some other shoes that I've used right now. But other than that, the fit of the shoe has been really consistent. There's a lot of cushioning, a lot of padding that I don't even like think about it during the run as like any sort of chafing, any sort of like cutting into my ankles or my foot or the other areas of my feet. The tongue of the shoe has been, for the most part, reliable. It's hard to get like the perfect fit when the tongue is like this cushiony versus it being more like this gusseted one size fits all kind of a tongue on the shoe. But other than that, tying the shoe down, locking it in, like I know kind of what I'm going to get myself into when I'm running with this thing. And even at 200 plus miles, the shoe has been performing extremely well. I'm very happy with the performance of it right now. It's reliable for my everyday runs. It's reliable for my recovery runs. When I try to push a little bit faster in it, I will get something out of it. Not specifically right now. I'm in a marathon recovery mode, so no speed stunts in this thing, right? But yeah, no, I've had a really good time with this shoe, and I'm completely aware of the fact, and I hear this all the time. I'll give you like a brief story, right? I've had two people now talk to me about it, where one person was at the gym, was telling me that they had a pair of Vomero Pluses, and they were telling me the shoe was just not working for them at all, right? It was just one of those conversations of, oh, you got the shoe? What do you think about it? I'm like, yeah, it's great. Like, it's a really great ride. And they're like, really? Like, mine feels really flat when I'm running with, there's like no give from it, I guess he was saying. There was no like springiness, that just felt like a pancake. It was not responding well for him. So that was an interesting story, and it was just like nothing like I was describing, where I was getting a lot of return, and I was really happy with like the springiness, the boing of the shoe, I guess. But I don't know. That was just a weird take that I've heard, and then I've also heard from you guys before too, where like there's like bulges on the shoe that feel like they're digging into your foot while you're running. That's supposed to feel like an air pocket, and it's kind of just a massive discomfort on your foot in the midfoot area. And again, I don't feel that anywhere on this shoe, and I wish you guys could like send me your shoes and I can like figure out what's going on, try to give them a run to see if like I experience the same sensations. But like my only conclusion with such a thing is like some kind of manufacturing differences, right? Like this particular shoe, it looks like it was made in Vietnam. And it was released, was that February 2nd, 25, or is that May 2nd, 25? I don't know what the date convention is for these particular pairs, but this is like the time frame in which they're like made and shipped out. So maybe if you have them made somewhere else, you might be experiencing a different sensation with the shoe, but I don't know, right? I would have to get a faulty version of the shoe and just figure out what gives. Like, why does it feel different? Why does it feel like it's made differently? So, I don't know. That's just kind of where my brain goes to when people are telling me they're not having a great time in this shoe. Because at the very least, you should, I think, be experiencing a neutral amount of time where it's like a, thank you, this is a good daily trainer, what's the next best thing? But people are outright saying that they don't like this at all. So I'm just curious, right? I'm not like advocating like this is the greatest Nike shoe ever or anything like that. I'm just telling you, you know, with my experience, with using the shoe, just having it as a daily trainer, like I'm having a good time with it. It is what it is, right? You know, Nike's not paying me a single cent to say that. They know that. They know that I've ribbed at their product for like 2.5 years, a while back when I was running in like more Pumas and Adidas product. But hey, maybe they're turning a leaf. Maybe they can finally start putting out a good product again. We'll see. But okay, anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it at. So if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, agreements, disagreements with the assessment, if you have an experience you want to share with the shoe that you're enjoying, let me know in the comments below. But other than that, I think we will leave it at this for now. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.